The world had barely taken its first steady breath beneath the reign of the new gods, when Zeus, victorious and blazing with authority, stood upon the peak of the cosmos he had just won. The Titans had fallen. Atlas had been bound to the farthest edge of the world, forced to bear the sky upon his shoulders. The 100-handers and Cyclopes had returned to the shadows of their ancient haunts, and now, for the first time since creation's first shiver, the cosmos waited for order. It waited for structure. It waited for a ruler. The Olympians gathered upon the high cloud crest above Mount Olympus, where the air shimmered with a strange blue fire, and the newly born winds swirled in anticipation. Below them, the earth still smoked from the war. Seas frothed, chasms sealed shut. Even the stars seemed to lean in, eager for the first decree of the new age. Yet before any laws could be made, before any authority could be declared, the gods realized something painfully simple. They had no idea who ruled what. They had inherited the entire universe. But how was it to be divided? The gods argued, they negotiated, they shouted and debated across the firmament while lightning crackled harmlessly above their heads, each bolt a flicker of Zeus's impatience. Some gods argued that seniority should decide. Others believed strength should determine dominion. Still others proposed that they simply follow the whims of chaos and let the universe fall where it may.
Zeus finally raised his hand, and the winds stilled. His voice carried across heaven, sea, and earth. They would draw lots. Fate would decide the distribution of creation. No favoritism, no politics, no power plays. 3 stones were carved by the Cyclopes and inscribed with cryptic symbols. They were placed into an ancient amphora forged from the roots of the world itself. Zeus shook the vessel with a calm certainty that irritated both his brothers. When he withdrew the first stone, it glowed with a pale golden light. This was the stone of the sky, the stone of the heavens, the stone of the highest throne. Zeus accepted it without triumph. Something in his expression said he always knew it would be his. Poseidon stepped forward next. His hand shook only slightly as he reached into the amphora and pulled out the second stone. It shimmered with a deep blue gleam. The sea, the oceans, the endless shifting domain of storms and tides, a kingdom wild and formidable, as volatile as the god who claimed it. That left Hades. He reached into the amphora and withdrew a stone so dark it seemed to swallow the light around it. The realm of the dead, the underworld, a place of shadows, silence, and secrets. Few envied him, and Hades himself did not smile, but there was something resolute in his acceptance. He had always been a god of gravity.
Their domains settled, an unspoken understanding passed among the brothers. Though they were equals by birth, Zeus's role in the war, combined with the heavens' rule, placed him above the others. Supreme Lord of gods and men, the keeper of cosmic law. And so the 3 gods departed to shape their realms. Olympus rose first, a kingdom built in the bright cradle of the sky. wrapped in a gentle swirling mist that mortals would one day imagine as pure white clouds. No mortal eyes could pierce its veil, no mortal breath could survive its rarefied air. Here Zeus would build his throne, forged from adamantine and wreathed in thunder. Here the gods would feast. Here they would argue. Here they would build the blueprint of the cosmos. Poseidon sank into the sea, and the waters parted before him like curtains drawn back from a dramatic stage. He descended to the bottom of the ocean and built a kingdom of coral palaces and shimmering vaults that gleamed like polished glass. Schools of fish swam in choreographed spirals. Whales sang hymns older than Titan blood. Storms brewed above whenever he stirred. Hades ventured downward, crossing the blurred threshold between the living world and the realm beneath. As he descended, light folded in on itself, and sound became muted. He passed through the gates guarded by monsters older than memory. In the deepest chamber of that realm, he sat upon his somber throne. It gleamed with cold authority, a throne of mineral and shadow. Here he would preside over the dead, judge souls, and maintain a balance that even Zeus dared not disturb. With the universe divided and the Olympian order established, Zeus turned his attention toward securing his rule. Victory in war was one thing, stability in peace was another. The new cosmos needed continuity, it needed wisdom, and it needed an heir. Zeus sought a partner, and found one in Metis, the Titaness of wisdom, counsel, and cunning thought. She was subtle-minded, a shapeshifter and strategist beyond compare. She was also reluctant to pair with Zeus, who was famously persistent in his pursuits. In the old tales, she transformed into countless forms to escape him. She became a hawk, a fish, a breeze, a flame. Each time Zeus matched her, shape for shape, driven by desire and the certainty that wisdom itself belonged at his side.
Finally, he caught her, and she conceived a child within her. But no joy followed, no celebration, for Gaia rose from the depths of the earth with a warning that froze Zeus's triumph. Metis would bear a daughter, a goddess brilliant and fierce, but her next child would be a son, destined to overthrow his father. The curse of succession, the curse that had haunted Uranus and Cronus, now loomed over Zeus. Unable to risk the prophecy, Zeus acted with calculated resolve. He tricked Metis with soft words and a show of tenderness. As she relaxed and let her guard fall, he opened his mouth and swallowed her whole. Metis vanished into him. But she did not die. Wisdom cannot be killed. It can only be transformed. Within him, she built a chamber of counsel. It was said that she continued to advise him from inside, her voice shaping his strategy and strengthening his rule. By consuming her, Zeus absorbed her intelligence, her foresight, her cleverness. Yet he also ensured that her son would never be born in a way that fate could weaponize. Not long after, Zeus found himself entangled with his mother once again.
though not in a way the world would care to sing about. Rhea, foreseeing the consequences of Zeus's impulses, warned him against marriage. She forbade it outright. But Zeus did not react well to boundaries. He threatened violence. She transformed into a serpent. Zeus shifted into a male serpent and chased her down. The myth is uncomfortable, sharpened by its ancient frankness, but it was part of the tangled and troubling web of divine relationships that defined the early era of the gods. In the aftermath, Zeus sought structure, perhaps attempting to stabilize his power, perhaps drawn by the allure of divine order. He took Themis as his lover. Themis was the titaness of justice, law, and right custom. Their union was symbolic, as if Zeus wanted the universe to understand that his reign was not merely one of strength, but one rooted in cosmic balance.
From their union came the Horae, the seasons, those goddesses who governed the natural and moral rhythms of the world. Eunomia, embodiment of good order and lawful governance. Dike, the spirit of justice and fair judgment. Irene, the personification of peace and harmony. They walked the world and shaped its cycles. They guided the rise of cities, the flourishing of crops, and the subtle art of civilized life. Themis also gave birth to the Moirai, the Fates, although some traditions give them different parents. But in many tales, Zeus and Themis produced the three sisters who managed the thread of every mortal life. Clotho spun the thread, crafting the moment of birth. Lachesis measured it, assigning each life its length and character. Atropos cut it with her shears, ending the mortal journey with a single irreversible snip. Even Zeus respected them. Even he did not interfere in their work. Their final daughters were the Themidas, nymphs who served as keepers of divine artifacts, including the treasures that bound oaths or shaped omens. But Zeus did not stop there.
He next united with Mnemosyne, the personification of memory. Memory was the foundation of identity, the root of story, the keeper of knowledge. With her, Zeus spent 9 nights of love, 9 nights of creation. From this long union came the Muses, 9 daughters who would become the torchbearers of creativity and imagination. They inspired poetry, music, history, astronomy, dance, and sacred hymns. Through them, mortals would rise from primitive silence to the beauty of storytelling, song, and art. Through them, the world learned how to remember itself. Then Zeus paired with Demeter, goddess of the fertile earth, and from their union came Persephone. Her story would define an entire cycle of life and death, though that tale belonged to a slightly later age. For now, Persephone was a radiant being, a symbol of spring's promise and green abundance. Zeus moved through the heavens, earth, and sea with an appetite that shaped destinies. He pursued Leto, a titaness of gentle radiance, who wandered across the world seeking refuge from Hera's growing anger. Her eventual children, Apollo and Artemis, would change the balance of Olympus itself.
but that belonged to the next chapter of divine history. For now, Zeus's attention turned toward Hera.